on NewsHour tonight. 16 Rivers lawmakers, Speaker join APC. 10 kidnapped women rescued in Kaduna. Police retirees jubilate over pending exemption from pension scheme. And away from Nigeria, Burkina Faso frees 8 NGO workers accused of spying. Good evening, this is NewsHour on Trust TV. I am Chiamaka Nwafo. 16 members of the Rivers State House of Assembly, led by Speaker Martin Amewole, have officially defected from the PDP to the APC. Amewole announced the move during plenary on Friday, citing internal divisions within the PDP as the reason for the defection. He confirmed he had formally notified his ward chairman and joined the APC. The Speaker praised President Bola Tinubu, saying the president means well for Nigeria and has shown commitment to Rivers State. He added that supporting the president from inside the APC is now the lawmakers' priority. Rivers politics has been marred by a prolonged rift between Governor Siminalayi Fubara and lawmakers loyal to former Governor Wike, with attempted impeachments and conflicting court rulings over the legitimacy of the Amewole-led assembly. Observers note that the defection reflects the ongoing internal fractures within the PDP, influencing alignments and political loyalties across the state.
I'd like to inform the House that I have been informed by 16 members of the Rivers State House of Assembly of their decision to leave the People's Democratic Party and move to the All Progressive Congress. All 16 members, including the Speaker, have so decided to leave the People's Democratic Party for the All Progressive Congress. Distinguished colleagues, it's important I also allow all the members who have so communicated to me to also reaffirm by addressing the House on this particular item.
Meanwhile, Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Wike, has defended the defection of the Speaker of the Rivers State House of Assembly and 15 other lawmakers from the PDP to the APC, citing deep divisions within the party. Speaking to journalists after inspecting road projects in Abuja, Wike said the lawmakers acted within their constitutional right, despite not informing him beforehand. He emphasized that his focus remains on delivering on the mandate given to him by President Bola Tinubu, adding that consistent performance will silence critics.
I have always said that when everybody has the right to make a choice, the party is fully factionalized. And the requirement of the Constitution said that when the faction is factionalized, they are bound to leave the party. I'm still in PDP. You see that not everybody that has left. I believe 16 or 17 of them have left out of 27. We still have a quite good number, about 10, and we continue to work together. They never told me, but they have a right. So those who have all remained will continue to work together. And that's what I've said to the party: put your house in order. Because at the end of the day, if you don't put your house in order, it's the party that is losing.
Still in Rivers State, the APC faction in the state has refused to comment on Governor Siminalayi Fubara's next political move as speculation mounts over a possible defection from the PDP to the APC. The party's caretaker committee chairman, Tony Okocha, said that if Fubara chooses to join the APC, his past sins cannot be forgiven, signaling that the party may not accommodate politicians with questionable records. Meanwhile, 10 Rivers lawmakers have resisted overtures to join the APC, reportedly due to loyalty to Governor Fubara and the PDP. Some lawmakers have already defected, citing internal divisions within the PDP as their reason. Political observers say the situation remains fluid, with ongoing negotiations and maneuvering involving Fubara, the APC, and other key stakeholders.
You don't lead people by the nose. Okay, it's a decision that 17 members have made, including the speaker, of course, joining that decision. And maybe when you saw us, when I came out of the chamber, so we are still going ahead to woo other people who are still members of the PDP. And I can assure you that if we sustain our arguments, and if what they are also saying to us, the reason why they want to join us or they might likely join us is what the president is doing in Nigeria. Well, the governor is governor of the state and is a big man for that matter. If I have the opportunity of talking to the governor on the issues of politics, I think I should also ask him or advise him to follow his mind. That's what I will do. I won't go beyond that.
The Kabiru Turaki-led faction of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, has asked Justice Joyce Abdulmalik to recuse herself from a suit filed against the party's leadership, citing a reasonable apprehension of bias. The suit, filed by the Wike faction of the PDP, involves disputes over the party's national convention and leadership structure. Lawyers from both parties for the Turaki faction, led by Chris Uche, SAN, argued that the judge's handling of the case could deny their clients a fair and impartial hearing. They also requested that the matter be reassigned to another judge. In addition, the Turaki faction sought injunctions to stop the Wike faction from parading themselves as PDP representatives or altering the party's registered address with INEC. During Friday's proceedings, parties were directed to regularize their processes with a hearing of all pending applications and substantive matters scheduled for January 16, 2026.
One of the applications that our lawyers filed for us and at our instance is that the Honorable Judge should recuse herself from the hearing of this matter, both the one that filed against us and the one that we also filed, particularly against Inspector General of Police and Nigeria Police Force. We believe that justice must not only be done, but manifestly be seen to have been done. And justice is limited in confidence. So where a party feels, rightly or wrongly, that there is an apprehension of the possibility of bias, it doesn't even have to be a reasonable man's test. It doesn't have to be a reasonable man's test. As soon as there is this fear, there is this apprehension, then the proper thing for the court to do is to recuse itself.
Away from political matters, on a side note, a bomb explosion has killed 4 scavengers in Banki, a town in Bamaloko government area of Borno State. The incident occurred on Friday. A community source told our reporter that the victims had unknowingly brought the explosive device into the town after mistaking it for metal scrap. As of press time, authorities have yet to issue an official statement regarding the explosion. On security matters, troops of Operation Peace Shield have rescued 10 women abducted by armed bandits in Sanga local government area of Kaduna State. A senior military source at the Army headquarters confirmed to reporters that the victims were seized from their farms at Ngwanungu on November 29. According to the source, troops under Sector 5 launched a coordinated search and rescue mission and intercepted the kidnappers at about 6:40 a.m. on Friday, as the criminals attempted to collect ransom from relatives. The soldiers reportedly engaged the bandits with superior firepower, forcing them to abandon the captives and flee. Recovered from the scene were a fabricated AK-47 rifle, 1 9mm round of ammunition, and 1.6 million naira suspected to be part of the ransom. The rescued women have since been debriefed and reunited with their families, while efforts are ongoing to track down the fleeing suspects. The Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Waidi Shoibu, commended the troops for the successful operation and urged them to sustain pressure on terrorists, bandits and other criminal elements across the country. Over in Gombe State, the police command, in collaboration with the Professional Hunters Association, has dismantled a major interstate kidnapping syndicate, arresting 7 suspects and recovering a general-purpose machine gun during intelligence-led operations. The breakthrough followed the arrest of 40-year-old Abdullahi Ibrahim of Tilde Village, Funukaya local government area on November 23, 2025. His arrest came after a tip-off from a Good Samaritan linking him to kidnappers and cattle rustlers. During interrogation, Abdullah reportedly confessed to multiple kidnapping operations and identified accomplices operating across Gombe, Bauchi, Yobe and Adamawa states. Acting on the intelligence, operatives of Operation Hatara, working with professional hunters, raided several criminal hideouts on November 28, 2025, arresting 6 additional suspects after a brief exchange of gunfire. Police authorities confirmed that the suspects admitted involvement in kidnapping operations that generated about 150 million naira in ransom payments. Further operations in Gadambush area led officers to an armed storage point where they recovered a CPMG and 8 rounds of live ammunition after confronting fleeing gang members. Investigations also linked the suspects to a January 15, 2025 kidnapping in Badiri village, a local government area, where a victim was held for 2 weeks until a 15 million naira ransom was paid. The victim and others later identified the suspects during a parade. Police spokesperson DSP Buhari Abdullahi said the suspects remain in custody for further investigation and prosecution. He urged residents to continue providing credible information to support security efforts. Nigeria's academia say the Middle East conflict is no longer a regional dispute, but a global security risk with direct consequences for Africa, international politics, and global economic stability. Speaking to Trust Television at the Nigerian Institute of International Affairs, the academia from the Department of Political Science and Lagos State University, LASU, Professor Sylvester Odion, assessed the long-running Israeli-Palestinian conflict and diplomatic struggle as an economic crisis that has affected Nigeria negatively. Victoria Chokolo's report is presented from our studio.
The ongoing Israeli-Palestinian conflict has expanded far beyond the Middle East, with its consequences reverberating across Africa, Europe, and the global economy. Speaking at the Nigerian Institute of International Affairs on the Middle Eastern power struggles and its influence on funding of terrorist groups operating in Nigeria, the director of the institute, Professor Egusao Sage, says the conflict has become one of the parameters for measuring global security.
The economic problem is there, but the economic problem is being exploited, by fundamentalist forces, to promote their own agenda. That's basically what is happening in the case of Nigeria. We have an economic problem. Why is it that people in the south of the country are not also doing terrorism? So people are exploiting the fact that there's poverty in the land. Many Nigerians are, impoverished, and the rest of them, to drive their own agenda.
Yeah, well, obviously, as they say, the world is a small village now. So what happens in other parts of the world is of concern, should be of concern to us in Nigeria. I think that's the first point to make. We cannot remove ourselves from what is happening elsewhere in the world. That is the whole point of a country having a foreign policy. But with respect to the Middle East crisis, I think there is no doubt that the effect of what is happening in the Middle East, particularly the Israeli-Arab conflict, that effect has snowballed.
I'll say, yeah, if you look at it from an economic perspective, you could argue that indeed the fact that some sections of Nigerian societies have not been given, sufficient opportunities could actually become a basis for their radicalization. It's easy to mobilize hungry people. I'm sure you've heard that expression before, that a hungry person is an angry person. And so it's very, very, very possible that economic factors are the root of this problem.
To effectively address the ongoing banditry, kidnapping, and all forms of security challenges confronting the nation, academic scholars called for adequate equipment of the armed forces at all levels to carry out their duties efficiently and responsibly.
Following the National Assembly's renewed call for the public naming and prosecution of terrorism financiers in Nigeria, oil workers under the Petroleum and Natural Gas Senior Staff Association of Nigeria, PENGASN, are urging the federal government to urgently reveal and prosecute all identified sponsors of terrorism. PENGASN says the government must also take immediate action to address the rising cases of kidnappings and killings nationwide, warning that the escalating insecurity now threatens national development, the economy, and the safety of citizens. After the association's National Executive Council meeting, the Labour leader expressed deep concern that the insecurity ravaging the country has worsened in recent weeks, with citizens living in fear and economic activities increasingly disrupted.
We have heard severally when they tell us that they know the sponsors of these terrorists. The question is that, where are the sponsors? Why haven't you named these sponsors? Why haven't you exposed these sponsors? Why haven't you go after them? Take them to the lockout and get them convicted to serve as deterrents to others. We are tired of always having 1 minute silence for our brothers and our sisters. We are tired of always coming up to keep condemning and condemning and condemning. Beyond condemnation, beyond rhetorics, let the government, even if it takes us to look at those sectors that are not critical, we can go to National Assembly and divert the funds that are meant for the sectors that are not critical, divert it and use it to buy sophisticated equipment to go after these terrorists.
Away from security-related matters, here in the FCT, motorists say the Court of Appeal ruling restricting the Directorate of Road Traffic Services and vehicle inspection officers from impounding vehicles or issuing fines gives them some relief. Habibat Ajayi tells us more in this report.
The three-member panel affirmed the October 16, 2024 Federal High Court's decision, which stopped VIO officials from harassing motorists or trampling on their rights in the name of traffic enforcement. The court also issued a perpetual injunction stopping VIO personnel from violating citizens' rights to movement, presumption of innocence, and property. Trust Television visited major roads in Abuja to hear motorist views on the ruling.
This is one of the things that they did end of this year that I really appreciate, because the way that VIO has been handling things is not fair. Should I say that the way that they behave, they always behave like a tout, in which sometimes they will look at it as it's drivers that always cause problems, but they are the ones. I'm very, very happy for government to take this decision, not for them even to come back at all, because with someone in a country whereby you have road safety, what again are we talking about VIO?
Seriously, I'm really happy that they have stopped VIO, because I could remember when I was driving high purchase, it's VIO that made me not to pay the high purchase, because they arrest me. When they arrest me, they have the money to pay them because they say I should pay 120. I have the money to pay, but they do not allow me to pay the money. They hold my motor for 1 week and I'm driving high purchase. That made the owner to collect the car from me. The car that I've paid up to remain, I'm supposed to balance the 860. That's how I lose that car, all because of VIO. So when I heard that VIO are no more working in Abuja, I'm very happy. In fact, if I have money, I would have buy gold to celebrate it with my family.
Very, very happy. Not because I am a driver. VIO is not they are not organized. The reason why I dislike VIO totally is that they are not organized. If VIO hold your vehicle and you go to office to release your vehicle, you think you went to a market square. They will direct you, go to this office, you go to the other office, you hear my friend, get out, go to this place. You go to that same office, get out. You can't compare them with road safety. Go to road safety office, well organized. It won't take you, once they bill you, you pay, go out with your car. They are not organized. These same people who will owe you for breaking for your windscreen that have broken, and these same people who will still carry wood to break your windscreen. They are not organized at all. They are working like tout.
One of the motorists also asked drivers to stay alert and follow traffic rules during the festive season.
My fellow drivers, my advice to them is that they should avoid being recklessness. Recklessness in driving doesn't make you a driver, in the sense that you see a driver whereby there is traffic light stopping you, you see him will drive and pass. And most especially what trigger them to do all these things is that they were no big men in the country don't obey the traffic lights.
As at press time, officials of the DRTS, VIO and FRSC did not respond to requests for comment. Habiba Tajayi, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Police retirees have welcomed news that the removal from the Contributory Pension Scheme CPS may soon be finalized. The Senate President, Godswill Akpabio, assured the retirees that the Senate is likely to concur with the House of Representatives on the decision, after which President Bola Tinubu is expected to sign it into law. The retirees who had staged a protest at the National Assembly gate described the CPS as genocidal and exploitative, claiming it left some receiving as little as 30,000 naira per month, which is less than equivalent to $20. Akpabio questioned why police officers remained under the CPS while other security agencies, including the military and DSS, were exempted. He promised swift legislative action to resolve the matter. We go to Sokoto State, where residents of Arkila State Low Cost on Friday staged a mass protest to stop what they described as an illegal attempt by one Alhaji Bello Tambuwal to build residential quarters on land hosting their only community borehole and designated polling unit. The protesters, who turned out in large numbers, blocked access to the site and prevented laborers allegedly hired by Tambuwal from starting construction. During a visit to the area, our correspondent saw demonstrators carrying placards and tree branches chanting, "We will not allow it," in Hausa language, while some placards read, "No to illegal construction on our polling unit and water source." Others declared, "Over our dead bodies will we allow selfish individuals to take our polling center." Tension heightened when Tambuwal reportedly arrived with armed soldiers in a gun truck. The soldiers were said to have fired warning shots into the air to disperse the crowd, but residents stood their ground, shouting, "Kill us all." The troops later withdrew after discussions with community leaders. The community secretary, Prince Hali Umar, told our reporter that the land remains the only designated polling center for the area and also hosts their only functional borehole. He described the move as an attempt to disenfranchise residents and disrupt community activities, including town hall meetings. Nigerian businessman Aliko Dangote says the era of queues at fueling stations will not return, as the Dangote refinery will make good on its commitment to supply 50 million of petrol per day. He spoke on Friday at State House Abuja after meeting with President Bola Tinubu. Kehinde Amodu tells us more in this report.
Aliko Dangote says his meeting with President Tinubu is just a normal greeting or catch-up to discuss about the economy and the environment. But when he describes it as a very fruitful meeting, the ears of industry strategists perk up. This is because of a certain correspondence between the industrialists and the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, NMDPRA, that his refinery is prepared to supply 50 million litres of petrol per day. He is confident that the immediate consequence of this is that fuel queues, which have been a regular fixture in Nigeria since 1972, will go away.
Today we have written to NMDPRA the midstream regulator, and we have confirmed to him that we can supply 50 million every day. And, there won't be queues at all, because I can tell you for nothing, right now, even when we were servicing the refinery, there are no queues, So question of getting queues is history.
And what happens to the average Nigerian who is dealing with higher petroleum prices despite being promised a cheaper alternative fuel, which has not fully materialized in the last 2 years? Dangote says fuel prices will continue to go down, not only in Nigeria, but in neighboring countries.
Petroleum products, both diesel and gasoline, which is PMS, will continue to be sold in the market at a very reasonable price. We are not here to make our 20 billion back quickly. No, it's a long-term investment. And like what I keep saying, the issue is, okay, fine, what do we really want to leave as a legacy? So the legacy that we want to leave behind is to see that whatever Nigeria needs, we will be part of that delivery.
The aim of the Dangote refinery is to make Nigeria the refining hub of Africa, because, according to its chairman, all African countries import fuel. But its chairman is looking beyond petroleum and is targeting that its fertilizer company will supply the entire African continent with a urea production output of about 12 million tons. From State House Abuja, Kehinde Amudu, Trust TV News.
When the news returns from the break, we'll take a look at DW, Trust TV, launch Afrimaxx Hausa to highlight Africa's cultural impact. To stay with us, the news returns. Welcome back. Now let's look at some of our top stories. 16 Rivers lawmakers join APC. I also told you that 10 kidnapped women have been rescued in Kaduna. Two more stories. African creativity took center stage in Abuja as DW and Trust TV launched Afrimaxx Hausa, a platform that tells African stories through art, fashion, design, and entertainment. Dorcas Yakubu reports from an event that drew media professionals, cultural lovers, and creators from across the continent. Her report.
Africa's creative community turned out in full force for the launch of Afrimaxx Hausa, a partnership between Deutsche Welle and Trust TV. The event mixed conversations, performances, and visual displays, all aimed at spotlighting Africa's growing influence on global arts.
We are very proud that we are doing like this cooperation with Trust TV and that we are producing Afrimaxx together with Trust TV. And I think this event tonight is actually a great opportunity to also show our product, to show the production of Afrimaxx and to show what it's all about and to celebrate African art and lifestyle together here at this wonderful event.
Afrimaxx began as a Pan-African lifestyle program. The Hausa edition opens the door to new audiences across West Africa.
Together, these platforms have allowed us to connect deeply with millions of people, especially in northern Nigeria. Now with Afrimaxx Hausa, we have a unique opportunity to reach younger audiences and new audiences who are eager for fresh, creative content that reflects the evolving African story.
From fashion runways to engaging panels, speakers noted how African ideas continue to shape global trends. They stressed the need for stronger representation, especially as more young people turn to creative work.
So I feel like lifestyle and art is what represent us and represent our stories as Nigerians, and it's only right that we show off more of it. Let our lifestyle and art do the talking more. Absolutely. And give that and change the narrative that a lot of people have about Africans and Nigerians generally.
Or as creatives within this value chain, it is that the government need to to do more. This time around, not because the young people are already finding their path. So it is to create the right policies and the right environmental frameworks for the industry to thrive. Because what is China doing differently? Because China controls about 35% of export from creative goods.
Participants welcomed the platform, saying it will motivate young Africans to build careers in media, entertainment, design, and tech.
I think you see most of these international media platforms, they find it difficult to reach to the grassroots. So I think by collaborating with media houses like Daily Trust, of which they have already an established network to reach out to the grassroots, I think it will help them a lot in having this flow of communication and collaboration and linking up with the grassroots, with the people that are difficult for most of this, even the government to reach out to. Yeah.
All right, so at this point in time, then
anyways, I think it's very important so that we can build more on the content creation industry that we have in this country, because I feel like not enough of Nigeria's content is being pushed out there, and the ones that are being pushed out there is like to ridicule it, and I feel like we have so much more to offer in terms of like culture and arts and fashion. So I do hope that this opportunity will impact that.
Afrimaxx Hausa places storytelling at the center of its mission, aiming to connect cultures, spark innovation, and strengthen the creative economy. For many at the launch, it signals a fresh push to amplify African voices and celebrate the depth and strength of African creativity. Dorcas Yakubu, Trust TV News, Abuja.
The Coalition of Federal Pensioners of Nigeria has announced plans for nationwide unclad protests to demand payment of outstanding pension increment arrears and palliative allowances. The coalition's national chairman, Mukaila Ogunbute, stated that the protest is scheduled for December 8 unless the federal government settles arrears of a 32,000 naira pension increment and a 25,000 naira palliative allowance approved in 2023. The demonstration is expected to take place in Abuja, Lagos, and other states, particularly at the offices of the Pension Transitional Arrangement Directorate and in front of Nigerian Television Authority (NTA) stations. Ogunbute called on all chairmen and secretaries of affiliated organizations to mobilize members for the protests. The Supreme Court has delivered a split ruling on Osun State's suit against the federal government over withheld local government allocations. In a 6-1 decision, the court struck out the suit, stating that the Osun Attorney General lacked legal capacity to act on behalf of the state's 30 local councils. Justice Mohammed Idris ruled that only duly elected and inaugurated local government officials have the right to sue or be sued on matters affecting their finances. The court dismissed contempt allegations against Osun State, noting that the federal government was in greater contempt for failing to release the funds. In a dissenting opinion, Justice Emmanuel Agim argued that the Attorney General was entitled to file the suit, condemning the withholding of funds and warning it could cripple local governance nationwide. The Supreme Court declared the federal government's action unconstitutional, describing it as a grave breach of the 1999 Constitution and earlier rulings granting full financial autonomy to local councils.
We thank their lordships on the two sides of the fight. When we get the two judgment has been delivered now, we can make comment. I find it extremely difficult, honestly, with profound respect to their lordship on the majority side, that the Honorable Attorney General of the Federation will have the capacity to protect 774 local governments, and the Honorable Attorney General of Osun State will not be able to protect the 30 local governments in states. It's a puzzle that is very difficult for me to understand. But we give glory to Almighty Allah. One thing is certain, as they rightly caution the Federation, something is very vital in our development. Opposition must be allowed to breathe.
In Jigawa State, farmers have received new tools and training to help them cope with worsening climate shocks. The support comes from the PACE program in partnership with the Women Environmental Program and Jigawa government, aimed to improve the irrigation farming among rural women in the state. Trust TV's correspondent Ali Rabiu filed the report.
Across Nkwashi and Buji communities, farmers are receiving solar-powered irrigation pumps, fertilizers and improved seeds, tools. Many of them said the gesture will change their next planting season.
We are so happy with this support because before, during our farming period, we used to buy petrol. But now we were supported with improved variety seeds, solar-powered pumping machine. And with this, we are assured that this will help us improve our cultivation.
I am grateful and happy for this farm tools given to us. May God bless and protect you.
Zambuji local government chairman Najib Falalu, whom appreciate the women's dedication in scaling the test, urging them to use the agricultural input in an appropriate way for agriculture to thrive across the local governments and the state at large. He appreciates the PACE and WEP for their actions in addressing climate change and ensure agricultural productivity among women in Jigawa State.
This particular program is highlighting them and is engaging them in producing farm produce at their backyard. This means that it's been simplified, and the inputs given to them will help them in improving that scheme and will definitely bring a boost about the socio-economic activities in Buji local government.
Also, district head of Gansa, Buji local government headquarters, Sabo Bello, appreciate the supply of the farm implements while urging them to uphold trust and use the materials appropriately.
You see, this is a special donation. It's a special assistance in the sense that it targets a particular segment of the society, the women. Is part of what will promote inclusiveness. It's part of what promotes inclusiveness. Because all along, you know, women, especially in the rural areas, are left behind. And any organization that comes to help women is not only helping women, but is helping the society.
The distribution follows training of 200 farmers on climate-smart agriculture, part of a PACE initiative and Jigawa government and facilitated by Women Environmental Program WEP, with the support from UK International Development. Extension agents who are trained earlier on the new techniques for soil improvement, water use, and sustainable crop production.
Discovered that we've been having issues of climate change that is affecting agriculture in Jigawa State. So we decided to come and empower women farmers that are into dry season farming in Jigawa State. So the project is empowering women farmers with agricultural inputs. Over 200 women farmers, 100 here in Nkwashi and 100 in Buji local government. So the project is trying to see how we can provide them with agricultural inputs that would assist their farming, especially their dry season farming.
PACE aims to strengthen climate governance and boost economic resilience here in Jigawa. Its impact is already visible in new knowledge, new tools, and renewed confidence among smallholder farmers. As climate shocks intensify, these interventions offer rural communities a chance to secure their livelihoods. From Jigawa, Ali Rabiu, Trust TV News.
Adamawa State Governor Amadu Umaru Fintiri has reaffirmed the critical role of surveyors in Nigeria's growth, describing them as pillars of national development. This came as the Northern Surveyors Forum held its annual general meeting and memorial lecture in Yola. Trust TV's Gibson Swadigo reports.
At the banquet hall of the government house in Yola, surveyors from across the northern region gathered, united by a single mission, advancing geospatial innovation in governance. Representing Governor Amadu Umaru Fintiri, the Chief of Staff, Dr. Edgar Amos Sunday, declared the event opened and with it reaffirmed the government's commitment to collaboration. The governor emphasized that surveying remains a vital first step in projecting execution, noting that Adamawa's fresh air administration will continue to rely on the expertise of professionals to drive infrastructure and economic transformation.
Surveyors stand at the intersection of technology and governance. Your work provides the data that policymakers rely on. Without your professional competence, clarity, or precision, no government can effectively plan, allocate resources, or execute sustainable development projects.
Also addressing participants, the chairman of the occasion and former Surveyor General of the Federation, Muhammad Nadu Yaya, applauded the Fintry administration for what he called visible and progressive achievements.
Sir, the position of surveying in the northern states, unfortunately, is very weak. We have been encouraged by the Nigerian institution in the past and, of course, the Surveyors Council of Nigeria. But the position of surveyors in the northern states is very, very weak.
The keynote speaker, Dr. Ali Mburam Til Madagali, captured the spirit of the profession, calling surveyors the custodians of equity and wisdom, urging them to deploy their knowledge to chart a prosperous path for communities.
Work closely with health professionals, environmental authorities, government institutions, and traditional leadership. We think when your social intelligence is combined with community wisdom, development becomes both modern and meaningful.
With the theme, bringing on the new just partial application in governance, the conference featured goodwill messages from industry leaders and experts, all echoing the same sentiments. Innovation must drive the next phase of Nigeria's development. The highlight of the ceremony was the investiture of Governor Ahmad Fintry as a distinguished fellow of the Northern Surveyors Forum. Gibson Soadugo, Trust TV News, Yola.
Teachers from across the 19 northern states under the umbrella of the Northern Initiative Teachers of the Nigerian Union of Teachers have conferred an honor on Jigawa State Governor Umar Namadi in recognition of his dynamic and impactful leadership in transforming the education sector. The award comes at a time when Jigawa State is gaining wide recognition for its outstanding achievements in basic and post-basic education reforms within the region. Here's more.
Bestowed by the Northern Initiative Teachers underscores the governor's unwavering commitment to strengthening teachers' welfare and repositioning the education system in the state. The teachers were led by the state chairman of the association, Abdulkadir Yunusa, alongside the Deputy National President, Muhammad Hambali. Addressing the gathering, the teachers outlined key milestones recorded under the Namadi administration, such as consistent payment of salaries, timely promotions, and improved remuneration structure that ranks Jigawa teachers among the best paid nationwide.
You cannot reach any state in the Federation whereby a back-to-school campaign has taken a shape that will yield a result, because all stakeholders in the state are being involved in this campaign. We will follow children from house to house so that they can be enrolled into school, simply to promote retention, completion of students in our schools. Your Excellency, this is one of the major problems that we are facing in the educational system in Nigeria. A lot of children are out of school.
He's a visionary leader. He's an exemplary leader. And at the same time, as there's a popular saying, what is good for the good is a good for the good. It is often that the Nigerian Union of Teachers must award you excellently due to your outstanding performances in uplifting the standard of education in Jigawa State.
They revealed that the state government has invested over 60 billion naira in basic education, leading to the construction and rehabilitation of more than 2,000 primary schools across Jigawa. The teachers also applauded the success of the statewide back-to-school initiative, attributing it to effective collaboration among education stakeholders. In his response, Governor Umar Namadi expressed appreciation for the honor, noting that it will further motivate his administration to sustain and expand its efforts in the education sector. He also praised education administrators for their role in turning around the fortunes of education in Jigawa State.
Teachers do what is right. They go to class early, they attend the lectures, they attend this. And wherever we have problems, where teachers are not doing the right thing, the NUT will first of all take decision on that teacher before the state government take that decision, which I think is right. And that is why today, teachers in Jigawa State are happy, the NUT is happy, and the government is happy. So we will continue this collaboration to ensure that we improve the teaching and learning outcomes in Jigawa State.
Governor Namadi's education drive spans basic, post-basic and tertiary institutions, supported by purposeful programs designed to enhance service delivery. Within 2.5 years, over 10,000 teachers have been recruited, while the state's education budget has continued to surpass UNESCO's benchmark.
You're also watching News Hour on Trust TV. When we return, business, foreign and sports. Do stay with us. Welcome back. On the foreign scene, an international non-governmental organization operating in Burkina Faso says 8 of its members who were arrested by the country's military rulers on allegations of spying have now been released. The Netherlands-based international NGO safety organization INSO confirmed on Friday that the workers detained in July and accused of passing sensitive security information to foreign powers were freed at the end of October. Those arrested included a French national, a French-Senegalese woman, a citizen, a Malian, and 4 Burkina Faso staff members. Burkina Faso's junta, which came to power in September 2022 coup, had revoked the licenses of 21 NGOs in July, including INSO. The authorities alleged that INSO continued operating covertly despite the ban. INSO, which provides security analysis to humanitarian groups, has firmly denied all allegations of espionage, saying it has operated in Burkina Faso since 2019 at the request of NGOs seeking improved safety support. Rights groups say the Burkinabe authorities increasingly suppress dissent among civil society and the media, citing the ongoing fight against jihadist groups that have destabilized the country for over a decade. In sports, the draw for 2026 FIFA World Cup has been concluded. The Atlas Lions Morocco will face Samba Boys of Brazil, Scotland and Haiti in Group C, as defending champion Argentina battles Austria, Algeria and Jordan in Group J. The Black Stars of Ghana will play the 3 Lions of England, Croatia and Panama in Group L. 48 teams will fight for the trophy, to be co-hosted by United States of America, Canada and Mexico in 2026. For more sport updates, let's join Adini Ajishafe.
The Nigerian Football Federation (NFF) has promised to come hard on referees and their assistants if found culpable in acts that could bring the game into disrepute. NFF Refereeing Development Committee observed that some referees and assistants uphold the principle of equity, fairness, and standard interpretations and applications of the laws of the game, while some have compromised this standard. In order to curb the excesses and negative tendencies in referee decisions, the NFL president has constituted a monitoring committee mandated to deploy personnel to match centers of the NPFL, NNL, and NWFL to report actions and inactions of match officials for appropriate actions. And still football, FIFA has announced that the mandatory release of players for AFCON 2025 in Morocco will officially begin on 15 December 2025, following a series of consultations with stakeholders and CAF. The decision taken by the Bureau of FIFA Council reduces the release period by 7 days. FIFA said the agreement made possible due to the spirit of solidarity demonstrated by CAF to ensure a balanced solution for national teams, clubs and competition organizers during the congested global football calendar. FIFA also encouraged member associations taking part in AFCON and clubs whose players may still be engaged in continental competitions during the release window to enter bilateral discussions. These discussions are expected to help both parties reach workable individual agreement that minimize disruption. FIFA will step in to mediate in cases where disputes persist after such talks. The governing body said any resolution will be guided by a detailed case-by-case assessment. The 2025 AFCON will run from 24 December 2025 to 18 January 2026, the first AFCON tournament staged during the Christmas and New Year period. That's Sport News. I'm Adeni Ajishafet.
And that wraps this hour tonight on Trust TV. For more of our news, programs, documentaries, please do want to follow our social media platforms and our YouTube live stream. On behalf of the news production team, thank you for joining us tonight. I am Chiamaka Mwafo. Good night.